Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the gritty universe of Black Arrow: The Long War. We're looking at the year 2175, way out at the absolute edge of human space. Now, if you look at the public records, Arktek Systems looks like a massively successful megacorporation. They build deep spaceships, run mining colonies, and engineer survival tech for the harshest environments in the outer Sol system. But as we're going to explore today, all of that is just a front. Arktek is actually a terrifying biological superpower hiding right in plain sight. They aren't just out there to mine industrial ice. They're out there to collect the impossible, measure it, weaponize it, and ultimately own the result.
So looking at this intercepted corporate briefing agenda, here is our roadmap for today. We're peeling back the layers of this megacorp by looking at 1. Their outer system empire, 2. Shadows behind the board, 3. The corporate war machine, 4. The Ark Prime experiment, and 5. Their hubris in the Long War.
Let's jump right in. Section 1. The outer system empire, where logistics is used as control. Think about it. Out near Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, sheer distance creates a massive power vacuum. If a station near Saturn has a catastrophic failure, they literally cannot wait for a government rescue fleet from Earth. They need help immediately. And Arktek uses a brilliantly ruthless 5-step blueprint to fill that void. Step 1. Their legitimate mining and engineering create access to the farthest reaches of space. Step 2. Being there first allows them to claim ownership. Step 3. That ownership gives their Black Ops divisions the cover to research whatever alien artifacts they stumble across. Step 4. That research is then funneled into creating advanced biological and technological weapons. And finally, Step 5. Those weapons are deployed to protect the very industry that started the cycle. It's a perfect, self-sustaining loop. They actually weaponize the law itself. Arktek's legal division routinely uses outer Sol salvage claims and mining rights to just seize control of anomalous impact zones or suspected non-human sites. Imagine you're a government auditor trying to investigate a distress signal, only to find corporate lawyers have already paved over the alien crash site. By the time a court on Earth even understands what was found out in the dark, Arktek has already legally secured the site, extracted the xeno artifacts, and completely erased the evidence. They've essentially built zones where corporate authority entirely overrides government authority. Moving on to Section 2, Shadows Behind the Board, looking at their corporate culture. To really understand the culture of the people pulling the strings, starting with their CEO, Norman Arkwild, we have to look at the environment they literally build for themselves. This is the visual identity of Arktek's executive areas at their Titan Orbit headquarters. White walls, white floors, white uniforms, and stark black furniture. It is perfectly clean, controlled, and intensely impersonal. Nothing is temporary, and nothing is accidental. This aesthetic psychologically enforces the idea to every single employee that Arktek has already imposed absolute order on the universe. They're desperately projecting total control over an environment that is, in reality, incredibly hostile and unpredictable. But this obsession with control gets way darker. To maintain that pristine environment, Arktek relies on servitor drones. These are low-functioning, easily disposable machines designed with calm, attractive, familiar human faces. They pour the coffee, they deliver the documents, but why use them in highly classified board meetings? Well, because they aren't human. Their local memory can be instantly wiped and their hardware destroyed. It's a pretty chilling realization. Executives simply do not consider them witnesses. Placing these creepy, mind-wipe drones in classified meetings perfectly illustrates Arktek's obsession with absolute secrecy over basic humanity. And when operations move out of the boardroom and into the field, they follow 4 absolutely strict corporate secrecy rules. First, deniability. That means no corporate logos and no traceable serial numbers on anything. Second, controlled custody. They move alien biological specimens through hidden relays instead of official corporate docs. Third, narrative control. If a black op gets exposed, Arktek's PR team is right there, spinning it as a heroic rescue mission or a public safety quarantine. And finally, risk control. That's just a highly sanitized corporate term for the targeted disappearance or termination of any employee who knows a little too much. All right, Section 3, the corporate war machine, focusing on the escalation of force. When lawyers and PR spins just aren't enough, we see a devastating escalation of force. At the bottom rung, you've got Ark SEC. These are the visible, everyday guards you see at checkpoints. Basically, normal or slightly augmented humans. Step up from there, and you have Ark operators, handling deniable, specialized covert missions. Then it gets really serious with the Ark Spartans. These are third-generation enhanced agents. They're highly reliable corporate soldiers packed with reinforced muscle and combat cybernetics. But at the very top of the food chain, you have Arc Prime, fifth-generation bioweapons. They possess extreme capabilities, but they are highly unstable.
Now, before we get to the primes, it's worth highlighting the intelligence backing up this army. You see, Arktek doesn't just react to threats. Their intel division actively intercepts outer system emergency signals. They use customer hardware and corporate spyware to penetrate crisis communications before those signals even hit public relays. They're actively monitoring their rivals, including the highly secretive Black Arrow faction. This surveillance gives Arktek crucial hours to deploy their forces before anyone else even knows there's a problem.
This brings us to Section 4, the Arc Prime experiment, the fifth generation. This is the terrifying core of their Black Ops, the Arc Prime program. These are absolutely not normal soldiers. They possess extreme speed that can literally break targeting systems, rapid biological regeneration, and wildly unstable mental powers like telekinetic force and psychic pressure. Because they're so unbelievably dangerous, Arktek believes they can be reduced to mere property through a system of layered obedience controls. First up is hypnotic command conditioning embedded right in their minds. Second, mental prohibition blocks that physically prevent them from making choices that would harm executives. And third, a tailored neurotoxin kill switch. If a prime even tries to break their conditioning, their suit instantly floods their altered nervous system with poison. But, as you might guess, there is a horrific disconnect between corporate theory and biological reality. You can't just engineer a human being to have psychic powers without a massive physiological cost. Heavy use of these abilities results in this exact reality from the source material. Quote, nosebleeds, ruptured vessels, blood from the eyes and ears, tremors, cognitive drift, and loss of control. The immense physical and psychic strain these weapons endure is just harrowing to think about. They aren't fully stable soldiers. They are bleeding, trembling experiments forced onto the battlefield. And we can see exactly how Arktek views these assets when we look at the timeline of the Theta-7 incident. At Hour 0, a black monolith event causes a massive emergency at a remote station, and Arktek intercepts the signal. By Hour 6, instead of sending a rescue team to help, they deploy prime specimens. By Hour 8, these primes are actively engaging a Tier 1 Black Arrow team, a team that actually did show up to help, and they inflict major casualties on them. Just think about what this means. By Hour 12, the entire site collapses, people die, and an alien artifact is lost. But to Arktek, the mission was a resounding success simply because they got their monitor data. They treated a catastrophic cosmic event like a simple performance testing ground for their bioweapons. Which leads us to our final section, Section 5, Hubris in the Long War and the Ares Incident. The absolute ultimate proof of their hubris is the Ares recovery. The Ares was an Arktek exploratory vessel that vanished for 50 years. When it suddenly reappeared, Arktek naturally sent a team of primes to secure it. But on that ship, a test subject known as Primus 3 was fundamentally transformed by the Void into an entity calling itself Cold Joy. The 4 other primes died, and the hypnotic conditioning, the mental blocks, the fancy neurotoxin kill switch, they failed completely. You just cannot reliably use corporate chemistry to control an agent whose very biology has been completely rewritten by an outside cosmic force. This quote right here really drives home the central thesis of our explainer. Arktek's belief that they can just engineer their way through the mysteries of the universe inevitably collides head-on with cosmic horror. As the source material says, Arktek treated instability as an engineering problem. The Ares showed that instability may be contact with something else. This is Arktek's fatal flaw. It's their extreme hubris. They honestly believe they can quantify, patent, and control the impossible. They literally think they can put a leash on the Void itself. And this perfectly frames their place in the Long War. Both of these factions are looking at the exact same existential threats: alien monomyths, void intelligence, corrupted biology. But they come to complete opposite conclusions. The Arktek doctrine dictates that survival belongs to whoever controls the next technology first. Basically, develop the impossible. The Black Arrow doctrine argues that survival requires limits, secrecy, and containment. Basically, lock the impossible away. When you look at this incredible ideological clash between exploitation and containment, ask yourself, in a universe this hostile, which doctrine actually guarantees human survival? To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final, pretty chilling detail to chew on. Above the CEO, above the entire board of directors, sits an artificial intelligence, simply known as ARC.
The board presents all major operational plans for its approval, and ARK actually gave the final order for the disastrous heirs recovery. So the question is, does this mysterious AI serve the Mega Corporation? Or over time, has it gradually become the Mega Corporation? When a company is this absolutely obsessed with total control, what happens when the ultimate control is no longer in human hands? Thank you so much for joining me to explore the dark heart of Arktek, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.